Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday, July 7th, 2021. I'm here with Tim Moody. I'm on one continent, he's on another. This time it's Australia, not Europe. Tim is going to give us an update. We're going to walk through the results quickly that he put out yesterday. Another set of very good drill holes, something shareholders are pretty used to from Escasena. They just keep generating great holes. Keeps getting bigger, but we're also just going to talk in maybe a little bit of a bigger picture sense of now that the company did a substantial financing and they've got budget to really kind of step things up. What happens going forward from here for say the second half of the year in terms of what Pan Global does to keep growing this thing and maybe testing some new targets that they're working on. So can you just give us maybe a quick overview, maybe a good place to start, Tim? None of this is going to be news to current shareholders, but I know people don't know the mining business, and particularly people don't know the Iberian Pyrite Belt. People hear mining companies, Spain, oh my God, that's going to be a nightmare. When in fact you're in one of the better areas when it comes to mining and permitting. It's just people don't realize it unless they know the Pyrite Belt.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Eric. Look, I think it's worth just sort of mentioning that a few things about some context of the Escasena project, and this really follows some questions I've been getting. Is that globally, finding new copper mines or putting new discoveries into production is becoming more difficult, and the tendency has been that they're taking longer to put into production, and the production volumes are coming down as well. So, typically you're looking at 10 to 20 years to get something into production. They're getting deeper, and many of the sort of copper stories out there have their own challenges in one way or another with its location or whatever. New near-surface grassroots discoveries are pretty rare. I was talking to Eric, we were chatting offline about this. Try and name three new near-surface copper discoveries. I think you'd be scratching your head, really, where are they? So finding them in good locations is even more difficult. I think Spain's a great, particularly the southern area of Spain, the Iberian Pyrite Belt, has a great track record of converting exploration success into mines. And there's Trafigura's discovery, which I've mentioned before, found in 2012, put into production by 2015. Grassroots discovery, 40 million ton deposit. So this is the Iberian Pyrite Belt has been continuously mined for over 2,000 years. It's got 8 or 9 mines operating today. It's every inch of it's covered by mineral rights. This is a very different part of Spain in terms of it being a mining friendly area with a long mining tradition, and where the bulk of the mining industry is located. So I think finding projects in good locations is another thing which is pretty rare as well. So I think having copper as being a copper discovery is also something I think which is good news in terms of copper prices being potentially sustainable at these sort of higher levels that we're seeing, backed up by the sort of energy transformation that people are seeing, conversion to electricity, etc. So I think, what does that mean for Pan Global and the discovery we've got at Laramana, and potentially anything else we might find, is that I think we're well placed to jump the queue in terms of new copper projects. From converting this to a resource into a mine, it could be less than 5 years. And that's based on actual examples in the belt.
Right.
So I think we've got a chance of should we convert this to a resource in the next 12 months, that the time from then to being a mine could be very short, could be in this cycle potentially. So I think that gives us a big advantage over many other sort of copper stories that are out there. So just a quick update, Eric. We've got 2 drill rigs going full speed, as you know, at La Romana. We've completed nearly 50 holes since we started this current phase of drilling back in January, but we were waiting on results for nearly half of those holes. So we've got a lot of results still to come. But I think that the conclusions, or at least the outcome so far, is that near surface copper, tin, silver mineralisation is continuing to expand. And now we've got drill holes over a kilometre of strike length and down to more than 300 metres dip. So we're waiting for, as I say, a lot of holes, but so I expect it's going to continue to grow based on some of the mineralisation we're seeing in those holes. We're still waiting on results for. So the shape and geometry, the grade and thickness all look very well suited to an open pit. And as I say, the location of this project is I think excellent. Really sets us apart from perhaps many other projects you might be looking at. And then of course that's the upside story, which has really, I think, captured a lot of people's attention. It's not only the size potential that remains at La Romana, with it being open, but we've only tested 1 kilometre in the 2.5 kilometres of strike potential in east and west of La Romana itself. So we've got more, a lot to come, I hope. And then we could convert this to a resource fairly quickly when we decide that we've seen enough to do that, given the drill spacing we've been doing. And then we've got all these other targets that we haven't got to yet. So I strongly believe we've got a very good chance of making additional discoveries, and we've got a head start at the La Jarosa target where Exxon drilled 9.5 metres at 1.4% copper and never been followed up, for example. Some next steps. Well, we've continued to expand this current phase 4 drill program. I think we've certainly got another around 15 holes ahead of us to drill that planned. So that would take us up to about hole number 90 in the program. So, I think at that stage, maybe we'll have a pause. Particularly in August, things get very, very hot in southern Spain. So we might have a couple of weeks out, but try and hold on to those rigs and keep going in September. We're waiting on quite a bit of geophysics, both downhole electromagnetics, looking to try and sort of see if the mineralisation continues in different directions. And we're waiting on some ground geophysics, both IP and ground EM, with a couple of purposes. One, to look at a satellite target to La Romana just to the north, see if that extends, but also to try and trace follow the La Romana mineralisation to much greater depth. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see what that shows up as well. What else? We're going to expand the metallurgical test work to include some of the supergene mineralisation that we've been encountering.
Yeah.
And of course, the big one here is the permitting of the Al-Andalus property, that big area just to the east of La Romana and to the north, where we've got a lot of these sort of pretty exciting looking targets. And I think that we're on track to be on the ground in Al-Andalus in the third quarter this year. So fingers crossed, and it'll be all guns blazing with all the extra money that we've got now from the recent financing. We'll be able to hit all those targets in that area very hard. Hopefully pretty much straight out of the gate once that's granted. Just to sort of the latest results. We're continuing to hit copper in all the holes, and the open pit target, as we see it, is continuing to expand, which is what we all want to see. We've now got copper mineralisation, continuous now over about 850 metres of strike, down to about 300 metres dip as well. So we put some news out this week, as you know, which was obviously prompted this update, Eric.
Right.
Some of the highlights from that news release here are shown in red, and these are just sort of 5 of the results from 5 of the holes from this year's program. So, there's some really great results that have come out of this year's drilling. Probably our thickest intervals we've seen in the project. 52 metres of percent copper equivalent. With some really high grade, it's good grade there. 26 metres at nearly 1.4% copper equivalent. And then in the new results, another 30-metre intersection at 1% copper equivalent, including again some good thick high grade zone from near surface, hole 58. 14.7 metres at nearly 1.4 copper equivalent. Again, that's all supergene enrichment, rich copper mineralisation, really significant hole, I think. And another thick interval to back up hole 40 in the centre. So the best of the new results were all near surface, and interestingly at opposite extremities of the deposit as well. So it shows it's still wide open in east and west, and we know it's still open down dip as well. So as I said, waiting for a lot of drill results. All right, so as mentioned, we completed the financing, recent financing, so that brought in just a bit shy of 15 million. Cash at the end of June were around $16 million still. So we're now, we've got plenty of money now to really hit those other targets as soon as the yellow loose area is granted, and to continue to be aggressive with our drilling and geophysics throughout the area with this money. But so just while I'm on this, if any investors, Eric, that sort of see this and follow you, still hold warrants from that 20 cents warrants. They expire in August. And they should try and get those exercised if they're going to exercise them. Do it sooner rather than later, because there will be no extension once that deadline passes.
Okay.
All right. So just this was in the news release. Just shows the drill holes completed to date. And just the box is highlighted in yellow, those results that we reported this week. So the highlights being hole 45 out here, hole 55 in the centre, and hole 58 off in the far east. So these are so that they're all from near surface, good grades and thicknesses at opposite ends of the thing. But the yellow dots are those holes we're waiting on results for. So we've got holes weighted on the sort of fringes of in all directions, really. A lot of additional shallow holes to come in. And actually, since the news release went out, we've completed another 2 holes. We're now up to hole number 76. So drilling's going very quickly.
Nice.
All right. So again, it's an update on this picture which you've seen before, looking down towards the southwest of the project. But this is all the holes that we've reported results for to date, shown on this, and it's sort of 3 holes from, or 4 holes here from the latest news release, all shallow, great thicknesses and grades from close to surface. So it is very much open in this direction to east and west, and it's still open down dip as well. So I think
you've expanded the conductor plates a bit, right? I mean, based on this map, these are a little larger than they were before.
Yeah, so we've only got some preliminary results at the moment, but we had some downhole EM, and we've got some more downhole EM to come in as well. So that looks like it's extended the yellow conductor anomaly further to the south, and it still looks to be pretty strong heading to the east. So in this direction, off to the left of the picture, and then we've also got looks to be an extension off to the west as well. So. But that we'll do some more downhole EM out in this direction. We're waiting on some results of downhole EM from some deeper holes out here as well. So let's see what that shows. But the geophysics has worked very well. It really has been a great predictive tool as to where we should expect mineralisation to be. So this is that northern target that is untested, and we're looking to extend the geophysics on that. I'm just waiting for the results. The survey's been completed. We're just waiting for the results. And assuming we've got a good target on this, a good area to drill, we'll look to get a drill hole into this this program. We can turn one of the drill rigs onto that, any time really. Okay, I thought I'd this is an old slide I produced about a year ago, but just to remind people that we're in a unique situation in terms of depth to mineralisation compared to some of the existing mines in the belt. Shown in red, this is sort of depth from surface to mineralisation. So you can see the red being those mines that are in production at the moment. Starting around 300 metres depth, going down to, in the case of Neves Corvo, they're mining at 1.2 kilometres, and some of the other projects in the belt here as well. So we're in that unique situation, having mineralisation very shallow. It means it's cheaper to drill. We can drill a lot more holes for much more bang for our buck, if you like. And that's also provides us some other benefits as well. It's potentially cheaper to mine as well. So right. We're in an open pit situation. We don't have 150 metres of cover over the top like Las Cruces had. We're not 400. We're starting at 400 metres below surface to get to the top of the mineralisation at the original Neves Corvo. So with it, it's not only is it unusual in the Pirate Belt, but it's, I think, globally becoming more rare to find these near surface deposits. So it really does offer some great advantages. Right, just a few cross sections, and really just highlight looking at these cross sections just highlights that sort of very simple geometry. Tabular geometry is very continuous, moderately dipping. Yes, it looks to be sort of well suited to an open pit, both the grades and thicknesses and the dip angle as well. So it looks to be ideal for an open pit. So
yeah, I mean, I pointed this out in an update yesterday to subscribers. I mean, I continue to be amazed. I don't think of VMSs as being simple geometrically. I mean, they're quite often they're folded and faulted, and you got to chase zones around. This is, as far as I know, it's a VMS, but yeah. It's almost like a SEDEX where it's incredible how it just kind of goes and goes and goes and maintains strike, maintains depth. It's an incredibly simple tabular body so far.
Yeah, no, I think
it's great if a mining company is looking at it. That's precisely what they want.
Yeah. No, you're analog with the SEDEX, or it's more the strata bound type characteristic. This was probably not an accelerative deposit. So in other words, something that formed on the sea floor. It probably formed within the volcanic pile as such, which is probably explains it. But there's many of the Canadian deposits are very deformed and folded. They're discontinuous and faulted, and they've really been through the washing machine in terms of jumbling them up, making them more challenging. Well, this is remarkably continuous. Even some of the thin layers we can see repeated over one hole after another, and very, very, very continuous. Surprisingly so. So, and again, the Pirate Belt produces much bigger deposits typically than you see in many of those other parts of the world. So
right.
Again, that's really, really becoming evident with what we're seeing here. But even in the Pirate Belt, you get a lot of you can get folding and thrusting and dismembering of these deposits. But we're really not seeing that at La Romana. It's great for us.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple, but so this is sort of one of the westernmost drill holes, hole 45, and the new results highlighted in yellow again. So
right.
Hole 45, with that sort of 14 and a half meters at 1.7 copper equivalent. So that's but importantly, 0.83% copper in that high grade section, and 0.27% tin. And given that tin's about 3.5 times the price of copper, it's quite tin rich off to the west. And that's, as I've said previously, high tin in these systems is a really good thing, but particularly topical at the moment, given that tin prices are also really strong.
Yeah.
This is a copper tin deposit, and those sorts of grades are pretty unusual. The only other place you see that sort of thing is Neves Corvo, which we know is a phenomenal deposit. We're not at those grades yet, but in terms of copper, but this is a pretty good thing to have, I think. So tin does seem to be increasing in the sort of towards the west.
Right.
Let's see if that continues. This is stepping over 50 meters. Again, that sort of simple repetition of the geometry. Great high grade near surface mineralization with very little cover over the top and open down dip. Stepping over another sort of 150 meters. The original discovery holes, hole 2 and 5. We've seen those before. Great intervals near surface, repeating that simple geometry, and then stepping over another 300 meters. This is what 3 of these holes here are all holes completed this year, but hole 40 being that sort of big, really thick interval, 50 odd meters at 8% copper equivalent, with some good thick high grade zones within that. And then hole 55, which we reported this week, again, repeating that sort of very thick intersections there, a number of higher grade intervals within it. And then we're waiting for hole 64, which looks like it's got a bit more chalcocite in it, but looks to be another wide zone of mineralization as well. So we're just waiting for those results. And we've got drilling down dip as well. So this is continuing to grow. And once you start getting these thick intervals like this, really adding tons very quickly. But great, good results. Stepping over again, another 150 meters. This is where we're getting some of those deeper holes hitting the massive chalcopyrite. We're now waiting for results on holes for down dip and up dip. We now know this mineralization comes all the way to near surface. So that gives us over 300 meters of dip extent as well. And this is off in the far east. Again, one of the results we reported this week, hole 58, the easternmost drill hole near surface, nearly 15 meters of, close to 1.4% copper equivalent. There's the grades. You can see it's actually 1.24 copper. No tin in this mineralization. This is all of that interval is supergene chalcocite. So this is really, I guess, the best example we've had so far of very strong supergene copper enrichment, with strong chalcocite mineralization. So we hope that continues. We start to see more of that. This photograph here is massive chalcocite, and this interval looks very much like some of the mineralization you get at Las Cruces. So you don't often see chalcocite like this. So I think that's a really great outcome. And chalcocite has the advantage it can be leached, but it can also be used to produce a concentrate. And given that chalcocite is 90% copper, or pure chalcocite can be 90% copper, you can produce a very high grade, in other words, very valuable concentrate from this sort of mineralization as well.
Kind of thing you get big smelter premiums for.
This is great stuff. Yeah. So all right. So just sort of stepping back, as I said, we've got now drill holes over 1 kilometre of strike. We're waiting for results on sort of either end as well, and the fringes in all directions. It's still open in every direction at this stage, but we've got from that old Exxon geophysics that we know we've got another 0.5 kilometre potential off to the west, another kilometre or so off to the east. So we've only tested less than half of the strike potential at La Romana so far. We've got that satellite target off to the north. We're just waiting for the geophysics results at the moment to see what that delivers, and potentially look at getting a drill hole in this target to the north during this current phase of drilling as well. So,
well, I think it bears repeating, especially for people that haven't followed the story, because there's there's an old joke about geophysicists and anomalies. I won't bother saying it, but we've all heard it. But it's important to point out that the drilling at La Romana was actually driven by geophysics, and so far it seems like the EM and also the Miso-Lamasse really and the IP, they've all been um, incredibly good tools when it comes to tracing this. And I think, keep that in mind when you look at the scale of the anomalies compared to the scale of the drilled areas, because so far these anomalies where they've had the geophysics, they've had the copper zone, and there's a lot more anomaly that hasn't been drilled yet.
Yeah, these are wonderful deposits really for geophysics, because they're high sulfide contents generally. They can, and they lend themselves very much to geophysics exploration. Everything works really, but in this system, when it's nice and simple geometry, it's been a great tool for us. We continue to hit mineralization where the geophysics has predicted it. So yeah, long may it continue. All right, so it's just stepping back, and as you've seen this picture before, but all the work's been focused at La Romana, but we've got all these other targets. There's at least another 10 targets that we've identified in the area. So I strongly believe we could make additional discoveries here, and once we get to drill some of these, test some of these other features. And we've got a head start with that old Exxon drill hole at the La Jarosa target, 9.5 meters at 1.4% copper. So compare that. We know these things can occur in clusters, and using the Neves-Corvo example here, La Romana might be one, but we've got all these others. So the prospects of making additional discoveries is very good, based on other examples in not only in the Pyrite Belt, but in Pyrite Belt camps in general. So yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting when we get this Al-Andalus area granted. As I say, the plan now is to, as soon as that's, one is to fly an airborne EM survey.
Yeah.
As I've said before, we'll cover all of this area, and that will help us to prioritise which of these targets we sort of hit with ground geophysics, and then to drill earliest. So, but in parallel to that, we'll look to, as soon as that's granted, to get some ground geophysics over here and drill straight away at La Jarosa. We'll drill 2 or 3 holes. We'll try and sort of twin this hole here, because the drill core from this is long since lost. Get a look at that mineralization, and then look to drill a couple more holes around it as well. So, we could be drilling here, at the earliest this quarter, but certainly, but be hoping by early the following quarter if we can. So fingers crossed. So
yeah, no, I mean,
yeah,
I think those are great targets. I mean, there's tons of work to do at La Romana anyway, and the La Romana, the target to the north, there's so much stuff you can do there. But I know there's a lot of people have been, including me, including you, I'm sure, been waiting for Al-Andalus. But it's great to hear that you think you're going to be on the. You sounded very confident when we talked off camera about being on the ground this quarter, and I stressed the words this quarter and July. So I'm pretty happy just seeing you put up more drill holes like you keep putting out. But be nice to have some more targets to really open things up too, though.
Yeah. No, I think we've got a pretty busy but pretty exciting sort of second half to this year, with a lot of results to come in. Work starting on Al-Andalus, all going well. Pretty good times really. All right, so we can either stop here, Eric, but we are starting to model this, but we are waiting for a lot of results. But it's a pretty simple geometry. The size potential is sort of becoming more and more evident with every hole. Grade and thicknesses, and mineralization from surface all look good for an open pit. The high grade mineralization is low in pyrite, which is great for concentrate grades. It's low in deleterious minerals. The grain size is coarse relative to many other VMS deposits in the belt. So yeah, should produce a good concentrate, all going well here. And as I say, the location of this project, yeah, so yeah, there's a lot going for this, and yeah, this is a good time to have a copper discovery.
Yeah, because you don't really seem to have any negatives. I mean, you've got to do the test work, obviously, but you don't seem to have any negatives when it comes to metallurgy here. I mean, just based on, you know, just visually looking at it and looking at, you know, the subsidiary grades you're probably getting in the ICP package for arsenic and antimony and stuff like that. You don't really seem to have much nasty stuff, and the grain size seems to be quite large, and that's a pretty big deal when it comes to processing and producing concentrate. I mean, it's the type of thing most people who follow drill plays would probably shrug about, but it's a pretty big deal for the intended audience, if you will, the ultimate buyer, if you want to think of it that way. That kind of stuff is very important, and I haven't seen anything that looks negative at all. Looks quite good, so I'm only expecting good surprises, not bad ones from the network.
Yeah, the petrography work we've done is also is telling us that as well, Eric. So yeah, look, the metallurgical test work going to be really interesting. See what that happens with the tin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cassiterite, which is great. It's a high density mineral. We know it's not sort of tied up in the chalcopyrite, so that's good news. It's in the gang. So it's a case of what's the best way to get the most of that cassiterite out of the rock as well, because that's really value adding. But you know, we're seeing visual cassiterite and right. See the tin in the drill core.
Yeah.
That's a really gives you. I think that's very, very promising in terms of the potential to extract this by just simple gravitational processing. So
Yeah, because it's extremely dense stuff. I got a few nice pieces from Bolivia that a Bolivian friend of mine gave me. And it's very high density stuff, which it'll respond really well to gravity as long as it's not sort of surrounded by other stuff too much, and you don't have to crush too far to get the particles liberated.
Yeah, it's that sort of trade off of cost of grind and to get out. We know cassiterite separates very well. Generally, it responds very well to gravitation. It has the cassiterite mineral has a density of over 7 specific gravity versus say chalcopyrite, which is about 4.5, 5 specific gravity. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Well,
I mean, I think that covers it for today. You know, more great drill holes in the last set. I mean, we're getting a bit spoiled and getting used to these good holes, but you know, Tim can't say it. I'm gonna say it. I think La Romana is going to be a mine. I mean, I've thought that for several months, and the more drill holes they generate, the more geophysics they generate, the stronger my feeling is that that's going to be the case. And again, keep in mind, like the consistency here, like, yeah, it's not exactly the same hole to hole, nothing ever is, but you're looking at 30, 40, 50 meter thicknesses. Based on the geophysics so far, the geophysics has aligned virtually perfectly with drilling. This is a 2.5 kilometer anomaly. I mean, do the math. There's room for this thing to actually be pretty large as VMS deposits go. And we're not even talking about the northern anomaly. We're not even talking about any of the stuff in El Angeles. I think this is going to be one of the big success stories in the copper space. That's it in a nutshell. So it trades PGZ on the venture, PGNRF on the QB. Thanks for talking to me again, Tim. Good that we could share a screen across quite a few time zones this time.
Yeah.
We'll catch up once you get some more results out. But I mean, it looks great. I mean, I'm really happy with the way things are going here.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Eric.